little blown.
Do you expect Kathy to practice tomorrow?
I don't think so. It'll be week to week, but probably.
At what point during the week are you guys just evaluating to see what you're together?
Week to week. I wish I could help you out.
Kobe Turner is all resting or
His back's bothering him a little bit, so we're gonna be smart with him. Okay, see you guys later.
Looked like Pierre Thomas was having some success trying to keep coverage. What did you say?
He's done a really good job, and it's not exclusive to the coverage. That was a great play that he made. But Kier's had a really good camp. I think Joe does such a great job with really that whole outside linebacker room. Been really pleased with all of them. We'll continue to show improvement, but Kier's been a guy that's been with us for a long time. He's getting better and better. I think he really makes his presence felt on some of the early downs, but that was awesome. And I think what's really cool is you see how excited his teammates get for him when he makes plays like that. And he's a ran through and through. Really like what he's doing.
When you think back to your first year as a head coach, were there any times where you felt mentally just overloaded? And if so, how did you kind of?
I probably didn't even know what I didn't know then. So I think what I've always felt really fortunate about Sarah is I've been surrounded by great people. I can really remember having Wade Phillips as a defensive coordinator, and when you're a young head coach, I think sometimes you feel like you have to have all the answers, and he helped me realize that no, there's real strength in saying I don't know the answer, but I'll figure it out, or lean on the people around you. Where you got Wade Phillips, you had John Fossil, guys like Aaron Como. We had a lot of really great coaches. The Flores on that staff, Zach Taylor, Shane Waldron. So I've been really fortunate to be surrounded by really good people. And I think the cool thing about it is when it was that early, you had that unobstructed mind. You didn't know what to worry about. I oftentimes am reminded of, never forgetting that this is truly a blessing. And in those moments, and it was a blur, but I don't think that I felt like I was hindered by stuff. But it was a pretty smooth journey, and I think the cool thing when I reflect back on those early years is you are totally and completely present. You try to bring the right authentic energy and vibe and pouring into people, and that's what we're going to continuously try to do going into year 9.
With Liam as a first head coach, is there any advice you give on the mental aspect of navigating this year?
Oh yeah, I think it's just Liam and I talk a lot, and I think it's about leaning on the people around you, and don't feel like you have to have all the answers. Make sure that you do a great job of being able to delegate to the great people that you've surrounded yourself with. Liam knows way more than I knew when I first got the job, so he's way ahead of the curve, like all these other guys that are getting opportunities to go do their thing. So they won't make the same mistakes I did.
Landon left practice.
Yeah, I think he felt a little bit of a calf. We were just being smart with him. I felt the err on the side of caution. That was kind of what they had communicated to me.
And Bernardo.
Yeah,
seems like making a big impression.
Yeah.
What's your assessment?
He's doing a great job. I think you're right. You see him making a lot of plays. He's a mature rookie. He's a guy that is wired to be able to separate. I think he's catching the football really well. He's really smart and conscientious. He's moving around, can do a lot of different things. But you're right. He's one of the guys that has really shined, with some of those younger guys. And he continues to be able to, just answer the bell with the opportunities that he's gotten. And I think Stetson's done a nice job being able to get the football to him. But been really pleased with him. He is, he's doing a heck of a job.
What are you seeing in Nate Shielhaas, and what does he bring to the table for the offense in the second
Yeah,
year?
he's a great coach. He's got a big picture perspective. He's got a great ability to be able to connect with the players. He's a rare communicator, has high emotional intelligence. He really works at it. I think Nate's one of those guys, like a good amount of the coaches that we do have, is they take a role and a responsibility, and then they redefine it for whoever comes into that role whenever he gets a chance to continue to elevate himself. But in a short amount of time, he has made himself incredibly valuable. He's got a great humility about himself too, and you see why he had all the success at his previous stops, and why people were trying to come get him this year. But we're fortunate to be able to have him, and we'll cherish it if it's for one more year, hopefully a couple more than that.
Talked about wanting to have versatility. What type of personality does the depth of the team?
Yeah, it's big, Adam. I think. You guys heard he's coming out of retirement. You know what? I think what it does is it gives us the ability to be able to mix personnels, and ultimately it's how do we bring it to life? What does that really look like? But I feel like, we've got a really deep tight end room. Scooter Huff has done an excellent job, but Tyler Higbee leading the way. I think Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen have been outstanding, and I've really been pleased with Terrence Ferguson. It's unfortunate that he got a little bit of a groin. Don't know how long he'll be out for. But we are going to be smart, and you can see at this point when you get into that third block, some of those things can kind of wear on you, or you're getting some guys with some soft tissue stuff, and so we do want to be smart with him, but that gives us a real chance to be versatile. And we got some depth at running back that you feel good about, and then Gary asked earlier about Kanade. I think Xavier Smith's another guy, and Jordan Whittington continues to take steps, and then we know those top three guys, so feel really good about that. And if you're looking at a positive, like I mentioned, can't wait to be able to get Matthew back out here leading the way, and I know he's chomping at the bit as well. But in the meantime, Stetson and Jimmy are doing a really good job of continuing to get better and use these reps for their benefits.
Couple more guys.
Having AD out here have on the guys just for you to observe.
Yeah, I mean, his impact is instrumental. We're able to use him when you're referencing all the things that we want to be about, what he's been, what he represents as a man, how he went about it the right way with his work ethic, the way that he enjoyed competing, the mindset he had, the energy that he brought every single day. So he epitomizes everything, and then he still stays connected. I mean, he's really special to me. He's really special to this place, and his impact is so significant. And so when he comes around, it sure means a lot. And when he speaks, guys certainly listen.
Sean, with Stafford,
Yeah.
is there any way given how he's not practiced, that he would participate in joint practices with like the Cowboys and the Chargers?
Cowboys, no. The Cowboys, I would say that's less than likely. With the Chargers, I know I'm probably irritating you guys, but it truly is a week-to-week thing, and what I don't want to do is set a timeline. I know he's making good progress. Saw Dr. Watkins again today. Everything is in good shape. But to answer your question, Gary, the Cowboys is a no, and then we'll see about the Chargers.
Is Dr. Watkins the same
Last
guy
one,
we saw
guys.
at the end of the 22 season?
I don't know that. You have to ask Reggie. This day, I don't know. I didn't express that.
All right.
Okay, see.